Dr. Tyler Standifird here with Jason Zuback, who's a 6-time world long drive champion. And we're here to talk a little bit today about the importance of how the lead leg and trail leg work in conjunction to create vertical torque and that kind of rotational movement in the golf swing. And in reality, it's how we need one to be doing a little bit more than the other in order for some really good things to happen in the downswing. Now, to orient you a little bit in the app, because there's a couple of ways where we can look at this in the software, I'm looking at this anterior-posterior force curve currently. And to orient you, the red is going to be the trail leg. So this is what the trail leg is actually doing in the golf swing. The blue is what the lead leg is doing. And what I'm really keying in on in this player is what is the ratio or the difference between those two. If you can see when I go to kind of peaks of those values, you can see that his lead side has 21% AP force and the trail side has 27% AP force. And this is that scenario that we really want to stray away from golfers, because we want them to actually be creating more AP force from the lead leg. Are those things that you're seeing, Jason, and what you look at as well?
Absolutely, Tyler. What we see with the best players in the world, guys on the PGA Tour, from our TPI data as well, we have a large capture of the fastest players in the world, the guys that compete at world long drive level, the elite guys. And we see, obviously the timing of those happening at the same time, but that magnitude or more contribution from the lead side.
And I think what's really awesome about this is I've been out being able to interact with our users and the coaches. I'm seeing this again appear. When I look at my players, again, the very best players are the ones that are creating about 1.5 times lead AP force to trail leg force. And it could be even a little bit more. Now, there's another really cool place you can see this on the software, because if I key in actually on the yellow curve here, remember yellow is the total amount that we get. And if that yellow is positive, it basically just means that that player is producing more from the trail than they are with the lead. So we're looking for a bigger blue curve. We're looking for a yellow that is under that 0 line, right? We're really looking that as these 2 feet come and try and interact to create those torques, more of it's coming from the lead side, because what tends to happen is when that yellow value gets positive, you tend to see some things happen in the center mass of that pelvis. It tends to kind of throw towards that ball a little bit as that force creates motion, and we don't want that motion. We want to be able to get that pelvis kind of turning away and creating that nice space for the club to come down and deliver to the ball. Absolutely.
That that sort of maximizes our efficiency. The ability to, number one, produce power and speed is of great importance, and to me, especially with looking at the fastest players in the world, but to deliver the club efficiently too, which has an impact there.
Yeah, for sure. So again, assuming that this player has the capacities to do some of these things, they're not injured, they have some good strength, some good stability, right? This is an incredible thing to target to really wake up that lead leg in that AP direction. And so let's walk through a little bit of a drill progression that we could do with them.
In our first series of drills with lead foot AP, so that greater importance, that bigger contribution from the lead foot AP, we're going to start with a drill for this one with that lead foot AP band resistance. So we're going to use an exercise band, and that will be selected based on the player's strength, and their weight would have a contribution to that as well. But we're going to resist the motion that we're creating with that lead foot. So that big push at that 1030 position, where we have great magnitude of push, we're pushing down and towards 1030, but we're having a band resist that to get more contribution from the lead leg. I'm gonna have Dr. Tyler help me with the resisted portion. So I'm gonna put the exercise band behind my lead knee. And I like that coach, or we could use a static resistance. We could hook that to something if we didn't have the help of another person. But I like him oriented, again, at that 1030 position. And I'm gonna go in about 5-iron position, so normal stance, arms across the chest, and I'm going to turn back, and then I'm going to really focus on creating that big force at that 1030 position, and he's going to offer that resistance. What I'm trying to capitalize on is the resistance band is resisting what I'm trying to do, so it's going to increase that magnitude of that force. And again, we're going to do about 3 to 5 repetitions, take a break. So it's going to look something like this. The next in our drill series of lead foot AP, that bigger contribution coming out of the lead foot. And we know how important that is, where we generally want to see that 1.5 times the contribution from the trail foot. So again, this one will be band resisted, and for this one I'm using the Golf Forever trainer. It's a great tool that has a universal application, but in this case it's going to provide resistance for what I'm trying to do with that ground foot interface, create that big magnitude of AP force, pushing in that direction of 1030. I'm pushing down and toward the target, and the resistance is going to make it harder for me. So I'm going to key in on creating that bigger magnitude of force. So Dr. Tyler is going to help me. I'm going to put the Golf Forever trainer kind of at the lower position of my glute. So it's a little bit, it's not really high up on my butt, it's kind of at the bottom of my butt. And I'm again in about 5-iron posture, 5-iron position. I'm going to turn back and I'm going to really concentrate on producing big force towards Dr. Tyler, that 1030 position. And again, this is going to key on increased magnitude of that AP force of the lead leg.
All right, so we just walked through a great drill progression to help us work on the importance of that lead leg AP force. Now, the idea behind that is we want the lead leg creating, somewhere in the 1.5 times the trail leg is a good starting point, maybe up to even 2 times. And it's just something I again see over and over with the very best players that I work. Jason's reiterated that with his players as well. They're just generating more AP force with that lead leg to help create that vertical torque, but in the right ways to create the very best motion in the golf swing.
Right. Again, that great timing of that force, where it's happening anywhere, from the top down to around that lead arm parallel position, right? Again, we want those great magnitudes, but we want more magnitude coming out of that. It's over and over. We see the best players in the world. And the fastest players that will have that characteristic.
Yep, and if you're working on this drill progression because it's something that you struggle with or a player that you're working with is struggling with, great way to cycle these together are doing them, multiple sets, right? Going through those reps that Jason outlined, but doing 3 to 5 sets, doing them multiple times during the week to really help groove this new movement pattern, to really help wake up that lead leg and help it work in the ways we want to create that most powerful vertical torque.
Right. Again, that 3 to 5 reps, 3 to 5 sets, 3 to 5 minutes rest between sets just to give yourself a full recovery. And, frequency is our friend.
Yep.